Oh, what are we doing now? What are we doing now? What am I going to do? Eeny, miny, miny, mo. What are we going to drive today? Hey, it's cold out here. You know what I'm going to do? I got to drive this frickin' Charger Super B. I haven't driven this thing in ages. When was the last time I drove this thing? Wow. Wow. Did you just hear that? Kabang! Kaboom! It's all about the boom exhaust and the Road Glide personalized tag in the Dodge Charger Super B. Plum crazy. 392 2023 last build. Stay tuned for the ride. Let's get the wheels a turning. I mean, wow. When was the last time I did drive this car? I don't know. It's like a month or so. A lot of people are being critical on how let it sit too much. But you know what? We're going to drive it today. But you know, these Mopar products, the Mopar are really cool looking. They really are. But man, when you drive these things, it's kind of a different story. I don't know if you know what I mean by that or not, but it just isn't the same excitement that you get out of these other cars. So, you know, it's incredible. I got to go in the garage and get a cable. This thing has to have a cable to be able to get the CarPlay up. So let me do that real quick. Okay, so actually, last time I was in this car was February 1st. So it's been a good 6 weeks. And so these Mopar products, they're such a nice, refined car. But in some ways, it takes away from that just really, to me, more fun driving experience with the Mustang, the Corvette, the Camaro. But don't get me wrong, the Challenger and the Charger, these are fun cars. But they're such more of the road car. They're such the big car. And anybody that I meet that has owned the Challenger, the first thing they'll say is, yeah, it's a great riding car. It's a great riding car. I never hear it's a badass, you know, car like my Z06 C8 Corvette that I have. And I know that's really in two totally different categories. But the thing is, these cars are so refined and they're so comfortable. And it is a great car. It really is. But if you want to get that real fun sports car feel, then once again, I get it. This is a four-door car. But even the two-door Challenger, it's pretty much the same. What you got these Hellcats and these Chargers is they really do have a really good look to them. And they really are good road cars. And they get some good exhaust notes out of them. You get the good Hellcat supercharger whine out of it. So you get that aspect of just enjoyment. But it's not the same. It just isn't the same when I jump in my GT500, which I've sold. But when I ride around a GT500 Mustang, or I ride around in my Dark Horse Mustang, or I ride around the Camaro Z28, it's just not the same. And once again, I get it. People be like, well, you're really looking at just a totally different car. I get that. But if you're looking to buy a car to have fun, and you come to me and say, what do you think would be a good idea? You know, I've got some ideas for you. And that's all I'm doing is sharing ideas. Man, I'll tell you what, this gas station, it's the old story that the illegal comes into the country. He's a taxi cab driver. Now the guy owns a gazillion gas stations and is wealthier than all get out. Yeah, these guys are smart, man. I give them credit. Other people want to sit home and make money typing a computer board. All right, get gas. Gas time. Oh, it just doesn't end, man. I leave the house, gotta come back. It doesn't end, man. You live on the road like I do. And the thing is, about where I am, if I drive 100, 150 miles away from my house and I forgot something, yeah, how's that gonna play out, right? Back on the Charger. Haven't driven this thing in so long. What's really crazy is the Hellcats totally took away the Corvette days for me. So for me, I was such a Corvette guy. The Hellcats come along, and I've talked about this the other day, and I got that Z06. And this Charger Hellcat was just so fast compared to my 2015 Chevrolet Stingray non-Z06. And I just felt like, geez, I'm in a two-door car, and my Hellcat Charger can beat this thing. I mean, you know, wow. So anyways, it kind of just took me away from buying from continuing to buy the Corvettes to a degree. And plus, the Z06 was so expensive back at that time, but I had the Hellcat Chargers and the Hellcat Challenger So I had the 700 plus horsepower car, and the Z06 was 650. So I really just didn't get caught up in wanting the Corvette back. So in some ways, the Charger, the Hellcats really did, in so many ways, take me away from the Chevrolet products. Once I kind of started buying the Dodge Challenger and the Charger, then I went to buying the Jeeps, Jeep Grand Cherokee, the Ram trucks. But I always had Ram trucks. I've always been a Ram guy, but I got rid of all my Chevys. So it's just crazy on how, in so many ways, that Dodge distracted me. But this car here, it has this stupid, I can't stand engine deactivate. It deactivates a cylinder or something like that. Then it gets like that drone noise in it. So the choice is you go around in the regular mode in this car, or I'm going to have to go to the sport mode, which is a more aggressive ride, which gives a little bit more of a fun factor. But when you're on the open road, it's kind of nice to get that higher gear just to kind of get you a little better fuel mileage. Now, that's a good point. What does this thing get on fuel economy? And we'll check that out here once we come down the road here and have to sit in the light for 10 minutes probably. So, yeah, no lie. Oh, it's a really pretty day, but it's cold. It's, kind of like the winter is back. The really chilly air is here. So, and can I find it? Low life, top speed, 16.1. So let's get this thing tamed down. So let's see if my driving habits today give us a little bit more of a better fuel mileage. Because I always talk about how the Mustangs suck in fuel economy, but all my Dodge Chargers, Challengers, even the Hellcats, I've gotten always a good 18 to 20 miles per gallon out of those vehicles. And right now, we're just in the lazy mode. We're not in the sport mode. I'm just going to kind of leave it there. Do we go to the drive modes? I can do that, and that way you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Go to drive modes. And so now we can go up here and go to the sport mode. And so then it turns off the traction control. And if you're not paying attention, you got to turn that traction control back on, which I've shown everybody a gazillion times on my channel. You got to put it back on. So now we kind of get a little bit more of a quicker shift in this thing, higher revs. Steering wheel is more taut. I don't think it does anything to the suspension. It's more about the transmission and the steering. And so, but it gets stuck in the gear, and it doesn't see, like right now, it's not going to higher gear, so it's going to make it less fuel efficient. But if you hear the car, it just doesn't, I mean, it's a nice car, don't get me wrong. I mean, you watch my channel, these are cool cars. I like the cars. But it's just a different animal. And that's what's so cool. I'm very fortunate to be able to own all these different cars. So, like I was talking yesterday. Yesterday I was in the Ford race truck. The day before that I was in the Z06 and the Z28 Camaro. And then 2 days prior to that I was in the Ford Mustang Dark Horse. But I've been in the Ford Lightning truck a lot lately. But then on Saturday I drove the F450 dually around for part of the day. So I just get to jump in on so many different vehicles that I can really tell their different personalities. And this car here, it's really tight. I mean, this is a really nice car. It's really tight and it's very comfortable. The seats are very comfortable. That's something about these Challengers and Chargers. They win in the comfort factor of how you sit in the car, your body position. And I'm trying to see here. So this car does have adaptive. I can't even remember. I'm just sitting right to cruise control. It does. I love that feature. And it's too bad that the Hellcats don't have that, but it's because of that lower intercooler of having that camera down below to be able to have the adaptive cruise control. I think they can make it happen. I think he just continues to add price to the car. And I think the guy buys a Dodge Hellcat isn't fixated on having to have adaptive cruise control to make his life happy. For me it is, because I like to drive the cars. And that's the thing. I buy these cars and trucks, and I like to work out of them and drive around in them. And that's one thing that's always kept me on the Corvette page over the Viper. I mean, it's pretty incredible. I've never bought a Dodge Viper. Yeah, don't keep me going in that routine, right? Yeah. So the Dodge Viper, I always felt like just wouldn't be very comfortable to drive around and work out of, go to the store. But here's a good thing that I didn't talk about yesterday, which I wonder if I hold that conversation. for tomorrow's conversation. I think I will. I kind of keep that to myself right now. I have to remember that too. So anyways, just enjoying the nice Dodge Charger. It's trash. It's so dirty. I think somebody years ago said you need to install your own car wash in your own shop. I'm like, yeah, I know. I don't disagree. But today you can take these you can buy the monthly plan, go to the car wash, but as you know, they don't really do that great a job. I mean, they clean the car, but they don't really do what you're going to do to it. Hear this thing right now, a little bit of a gurgle pop, and this is a mac and cheese custom exhaust job. You know, what do I do on the Corvette, right? I don't think I'm going to do anything. I don't think I need to do anything. That thing's badass as it is. All right, decent amount of driving time. Got projects, so stay tuned. As you sit behind the wheel with me and you're riding down the road with me, right? Is that kind of how it feels? And does this thing kind of rock up the road? It does. And there it is. And, you know, roads are quiet. It's a Tuesday. Typically Tuesdays do tend to have that kind of lazy day. So that is kind of the way it seems to play. Or I don't know what that is. Tuesdays seem to be the quieter day of the week. What is that all about? Another thing I've talked about for so many years in my forums and other discussions, the 392 is such a really nice package. And for the bang for the buck, it really is a great car. But I mean, with the Hellcat values kind of taking a nosedive right now, in so many ways, you could buy a nice used Hellcat for the price of one of these new Charger Scat Packs. I mean, even people referenced that when I bought this. It was like, dude, you could just go on and buy a nice used Hellcat. I don't disagree. Dodge definitely got a little too healthy in the pricing in this car. But the point is, the car is an extremely fun car for the amount of power it has, and it just really is. And I've even talked about it so many times. For years, I had a B5 Blue 2015 Dodge Charger that I factory ordered, adaptive cruise, all loaded up, sunroof, if I remember right. Great car, I loved that car. But I wanted the Hellcat, so I ordered a 2016. In 2015, you couldn't get the Dodge Charger. It was a 1 year late model. So in 2016, you could order it, and I ordered that red line, red color, if I remember right, if that's what you call it. And so it took me about, I don't know, 8 months, 9 months for that car to come in. And I put a lot of miles on B5 Blue. I worked on that thing all the time. I loved that car. I loved it. And after I got rid of it, I traded it in for that Hellcat Charger. I mean, I was so like, I don't know, man, was it really worth it? Even when I gave up my Jazz Blue Challenger, so I owned a Challenger. And the irony is, I ordered in 2014, I ordered the Challenger and the Charger SRT packages, which is just a step below the Hellcat package, just to be able to get them sooner than later. Because I couldn't get my Hellcat orders to, you probably heard that story. But anyways, so I had a Jazz Blue Challenger, all loaded up, adaptive cruise control, peanut butter. A guy locally here owns it, and I see it at the car show. Beautiful car, great car, enjoyed that car. And when I went to trade in for the Hellcat, part of me is like, man, I don't know. I mean, these cars are so fast in the 0 to 80 miles an hour range. They're very fast. So the separation of these Hellcats from these cars is you really got to start hitting the 80, 90, 100 mile an hour plus to really start separating yourselves from being that much faster a car. Because these cars are really quick off the line. So part of me is like, man, was it really worth it? Did I make the right decision? But back then you couldn't drive the Hellcats. So if you went to a Dodge dealer and said, I want to test drive a Hellcat, they're like, there's no way in hell you're test driving that car. You can test drive it when you buy it. So there was very strict rules back then on who could drive a Hellcat. Even employees were told not to drive them. I mean, it was very strict because they were so rare, they're so hard to get them. But the whole point of my thought process here is that I'm just trying to radiate back to anybody else out there. The 392 package is a lot of fun, and you're not gonna be disappointed. And now if you're tracking the car, that's kind of a different ball game. But if you're just buying a car to have fun in and get the bang for the buck, this is the car. And once again, they don't make these things anymore. They're done. But there's a bunch of them sitting out there. But I don't know how many wide bodies. I would think there'd be a lot more narrow bodies than the wide bodies. I mean, the terminology that is that the narrow bodies don't have the fender flares on the car and the bigger wheel and tire package. Just another beautiful day. And again, I'm really getting a late start, but I got so much work, so many things to do. So here you go. Well, today it'll be going from the country driving to the city driving. Out here in the farming country. How much farming are they doing? They do a lot of farming out here, believe it or not. Yeah, listen to that little gurgle and pop. Which that's pretty nice, isn't it? Brr. It's a little chilly out there. Yeah. Did you hear much of anything? I mean, I don't know, man. It's just so, you don't get that exhaust note in this car like you get out of the Mustang or the Camaro or the Z06. And I took this to Mac and Cheese custom exhaust, and we know if you witnessed it, well, we did. So at the end of the day, it's kind of like, yeah, all right, yeah. I mean, where is it, right? I hear you. Oh, I'll eat my own words. If this is a rarity, you'd be on these back roads. I'd have a slowpoke in front of you sometimes in the middle of the week. But this car really is a fun car, but it's just the road car. It's a road car. It's the Road Glide. See that tag for my Harley Davidson Road Glide? It's a road car. It's not a race car. Some people are like, what do you mean it's not a race car? People take the track and race it. Yes. But it doesn't feel like a race car. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's a fun car. It's a fun car. It doesn't have the personality that you're going to get out of the more sports car. This is where you can have the whole family in the car with you having fun. As all this scenery is coming back to life from the winter months, which we didn't even really have a winter. Not to say pretty lame winter. It's not really bugging me that much because it's so much work when we get really cold, snowy winters. But yeah, the thing of this car is it just rolls down the road. I mean, you look down the speedometer and you're like, huh? I'm going that fast? No way. And so now I'm going to catch up to all the other people that don't roll down the road. And since this is in the sport mode, it's a little bit more active. So now, what does the dash say on the fuel? See there, 20. That's what I thought. Now, I was coming down the road many of years ago in a minivan, in my Toyota Sienna minivan, hauling butt to get back home. I was coming the opposite way. Get home to go out to a facility to pick up I think it was a treadmill for my wife. Yeah, I went out of my way to get my wife a treadmill. This is like back in 2000, I'm going to say 14 or 15. And so anyways, hauling butt, and there's a car like this in front of me, and I go around them in a passing zone. And I went around them, and as soon as I go around them, the lights come on. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So this is a 50-mile-an-hour road, but I think I didn't go by him that fast. But the guy just literally was like, nope, you ain't gonna do that to me, buddy. So undercover cop pulls me over in the minivan, and I'm like, I just can't believe it, man. I just can't believe it. That guy, yeah, my gosh. Yeah, so be careful. Anymore, you go around these people on these back roads, and you'll think it's just a regular person, and no, it's a police officer. You know, they drive around everything now. Oh, now this is really where this car likes to show its stuff. I mean, I think more of the city life is the Dodge life. What do you think, huh? Even though General Lee was a good old Dukes of Hazzard, country life, redneck that is. But now I think the Charger's happier in the traffic. Why is that? Open road, free-spirited, getting into it. Yeah, I think that's what this car likes. Because now we're in all the traffic. Oh, they got a little burp back there. I didn't get it right for you, but it sounds pretty good. Got the rear window down a little bit. So maybe you can get a little bit of exhaust note out of this thing as we get up the road here on the Beltway, the DC area, which is always challenging to say the least. Okay, now it's the rat race. You got all the people that are hauling butt. And I got a little Tesla guy right here. So you yeah, what's he want to do, right? Yeah, in my Hellcats, I take the Teslas, not the Plaid. So yeah, for sure, not the Plaid. But I used to love having the Tesla guys come up on me. Once you're rolling, off the line, no. But once you're rolling down the road like 40, 50, 60 miles an hour, you can take them. But not the Plaid, I know that. But it's just fun. It's just funny, but out there on the Teslas, no hating here. It's just, come on, you like to show your stuff in the Ice Age. I like to be able to say the Ice Age still can hang out there big time. So, yeah, I forget about having my adaptive cruise control and all, so that's pretty cool. I can get a little more comfortable here if I want, but it's just incredible the speeds that people drive. And anybody knows you get a ticket, it's so bad because it's like people drive around the Beltway at 70, 80, 90 miles an hour, 70, 55 mile an hour posted speed limit. Most people are doing 65, 70 miles an hour. And if you get pulled over, you're like, but the whole pack of cars are all speeding. Yeah, I've had that conversation way too many times. And here's the car. See, it's the road car. Once again, this is the car that just likes to rock and roll down the road. I mean, it's a very comfortable, fun car. Tesla guy's hauling butt. I mean, that guy's doing about 80 to 90 miles an hour. But a guy just slowed him down. He kind of blocked his lane. Oh, we got some good tunnels for you here. Get you a little bit of some exhaust note here for those that like to get the music to your ears. And then she does the burp. I've preached for years. It's so unfortunate. It's 392 can't handle more power. It's just incredible how Dodge deliberately designed this engine where you really couldn't mod it much because it'd go up against the Hellcat. I mean, I preached it for years that if you can take a factory 392, put a supercharger on it, and get 650 out of it, 700, I don't know if I ever would have bought a Hellcat. But you can. You know, anybody watching my channel knows. There's no way you can do that. It won't work. You will blow the motor up. If you even put a Pro Charger on this thing, Pro Charger, I bet you can get away with about, you'll probably get the same about 550, maybe 580. But you're really risking the piston heads. The way the piston heads are designed, they don't disperse the heat correctly, so you're kind of running her pretty hard. The odds are you'll end up blowing that motor up. Piston will disintegrate on you. So that's the challenge. But it's unfortunate because take this thing from 485 to about 580, 600. This thing really would be even that much more fun. And it's a bang for the buck too. And I know people out there have done this stuff, but my understanding is you got to redo the pistons and the heads, I guess. So as we go around the Beltway, not too bad today. Beltway's traffic at this time of day is a very fine line. Once it hits about 2 o'clock, that's when usually you kind of start to get in trouble, where everything starts locking down. But it's a Tuesday, And for a reason, like I said earlier, it's the lighter day of the week. And this is where you can have a lot of fun around the Beltway to a degree. Without people like this guy here. It makes no sense. This guy here went from the middle lane to the far left-hand lane, but yet he's not even really going as fast as he was. The Confucius ones, right? I like how the people do a gig on how they have the police. They have a picture of them with the policeman behind them pulled over. Have you ever seen all these pictures on Facebook, car forums? People, like, they brag about how they got pulled over. And I'm like, man, that's the last thing I want to do is have people know when I got pulled over by the police. But usually it's a friend. Usually it's a friend of theirs that plays a little gig that makes it look like they got pulled over for doing something bad when they didn't. And I'll never forget, years ago in the Hellcat forum, this one guy out of New Mexico was showing how he got pulled over in his Challenger Hellcat. And I was like, wow, that guy probably got himself in a lot of trouble. So I literally reached out to him on a personal side and gave him my own personal email and phone number for him to reach out to me to see if I could kind of help his challenge. And, it was incredible. This is an older guy. So he called me, and this was like a week later after he posted it on the forum. A lot of people were feeling bad for him. And at the end of the day, this guy called me, and he said the only reason he did that was to get attention in the car forum. That was a personal friend of his that just made it look like he got pulled over, but he actually didn't ever do anything. Here you go. This is what happens all the time, man. This Beltway locks down, and then, the day's about over. Doesn't end. So he just crashed their car because there's no indication of anything happened. So this is an accident that just probably happened. How many days have I lived on this damn road with fiasco? Way too much. But anyway, so I was just like, dude, you got to be kidding me. So you're out there posting that you did all these bad things, you got pulled over your Hellcat, but you never did it. Doesn't even know. Jeez. Now I'm stuck in traffic.